Over the last 12 hours, the crypto crash has honestly gotten a lot worse. Of course, Bitcoin's price fell all the way towards $87,000. Most altcoins fell another 10 to 20%. And a lot of investors are just sat wondering, what do we do? I mean, is this it? Is the bear market here? Is it all over? Do we just sell everything? I mean, what do we do? And so in yesterday's video, I told you a lot about why I thought the market was crashing. And in today's video, what I want to do is actually, talk to you investors who just don't really know where to go from here, what to do. And I'm going to show you exactly what my plan is, not for you to copy it, but for you to see exactly what I'm planning on doing as someone who's been in this market for 6 or 7 years, right? And so with that said, look, I don't want to waste your time at all. Let's talk about it and let's get into it. So as you can see here, yes, the crypto market is quite ugly. It's quite ugly. We got things like DOT, ENS, Pepe, ADA, Aave, Sand, S, HBAR, ETH, everything just absolutely getting obliterated. You even look at the weeklies and now this is starting to reflect it. You look at the monthlies, the picture is painted very clearly. I mean, everything is getting absolutely decimated. And so let's start talking about, okay, in a moment like this where everything is getting decimated, what do we do? What do we do in a moment like this? Well, the very first thing that I'm going to do, okay, the very first step of my plan is I'm going to prioritize Bitcoin and I'm going to fly to safety for now. Tyler, what does that mean? Well, it means that in a moment like this, what you have to understand, quite frankly, guys, is that it's risky, right? We're playing a very risky game right now. Because if we actually look at Bitcoin's price, let's actually go over to Bitcoin's pricing, you can see that Bitcoin is cliff dwelling. And what I mean by that is it's standing on the edge of a cliff. If Bitcoin decides that it's going to lose this macro zone of support, right around $89,000 to $88,000, it opens up the door for what could be a possible fall all the way back down to $75,000. I know people don't want to see that and they don't want to hear that, but that is the truth. And I've told you this a million times. If we lose the HMZ, it opens up the door for a mass capitulation for Bitcoin. Okay, that is possible. And I'm not saying it's the biggest possibility, but there is a high possibility that that does happen. And if we do see Bitcoin, which has been the strength of the market recently, start losing support and capitulating like that, I do expect it to have a very unfortunate effect on altcoins. Now, of course, I may be wrong. Maybe altcoins have been, getting destroyed already, and maybe they stay flat, but that's not a game I'm willing to play. My expectation is that if Bitcoin does start to capitulate back towards $75,000, it is going to be an ugly couple days for the altcoin market. And so as a result of that, my general strategy is to just prioritize Bitcoin for now. That's what I'm buying. That's what I'm looking at. That's what I'm focused on. Even in my own portfolio, that's what I'm focused on. Because quite frankly, again, if we see Bitcoin start losing the support here, I do think it's going to get a little ugly for the altcoin market. And that's just the general nature of how this market works. In scary moments, people are going to go to the things that aren't so scary, and they're going to fly to safety on Bitcoin. And listen, I'm going to do the same. Now, moving a little bit forward, okay, I plan on, when it comes to Bitcoin, and don't take that as me not buying altcoins at all. I'll touch on that in a little bit here. Now, kind of with this in mind, though, the fact that I am going to prioritize Bitcoin, what am I going to do? That's the question. What am I going to do with Bitcoin? Well, of course, what I'm going to be doing is I'm actually going to be just accumulating Bitcoin, quite frankly. I mean, there's really no other way to put it. Everybody else is scared and everybody's screaming and everybody feels like the end of times is here. And that is when I start buying. And so the way that I go about this is, look, I just start setting out my macro support levels, okay? And I just start buying at them. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at something like Bitcoin. I'm going to say, okay, where are my macro support levels? We obviously have one here from that previous resistance or that previous support wick right there. We have one right here, which was the beginning of this chop. So that's going to serve as the liquidity zone. We're going to have another one down here. And then we're, of course, going to have a couple more. Let's go ahead and say right there, right there, right there, and right there. So what you can see here is I laid out some very, very important support levels. We have 89,000, 85,000, 73,000, 66,000, 59,000. At these key support levels, this is when I'm going to be doing my buying. Now, yes, sure, I may do some little purchases in between, right? Say if we come like right here and we start going sideways, sure, I might do a little bit of buying right here. But these are the levels where I'm going to do my big buys. These are the levels in which I'm going to do my big buys. And the reason why I'm kind of saving my big purchases for these levels is because these are the ones that are going to give us a chance. Everyone's going to try to convince you right now that Bitcoin's just going to do this and it's just going to absolutely send it downwards. And sure, that is a possibility. But it is also possible that Bitcoin is now consolidated. It's going to give us a pullback. We're going to find a macro level of support, and then we're going to try to continue throughout this bull run. It's happened several times. It's happened back there. It happened back there. It happened right here. We've seen that 3 times within the last year, so it's possible now. And the likelihood is that if we are going to see Bitcoin run again, if it is going to return again, if we are going to go back into a bull market, if we are going to see gains. It's very likely going to happen off of one of these macro support levels. And so knowing that and knowing that that is the level that's going to give us a chance, of course, I want to contribute my efforts to the bullish cause, right? Add a little bit more support to those levels by doing my own purchasing. But in addition to that, I quite simply want to accumulate at the levels, which make it more likely that the price runs. You can look at this for a great example, right? Let's kind of get rid of everything just for now. You see how Bitcoin was going down, 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 down. You remember last year how we laid out some of these key support levels and we said we had one there and then obviously we had one there. And I told you, based on this resistance and based on this resistance, these are the levels that'll open up the door of opportunity for Bitcoin to run again. We came down to this one. I bought a little bit. We rallied. It came back down. It came to the next one. I bought a little bit. We rallied. We came back down to this one. I bought a little bit. And next thing you know, we're absolutely sending, right? This is the approach that I'm taking again. Buy at macro support levels in hopes that one of these will be one of the ones that pushes Bitcoin's price towards the all-time high. Again, very simple strategy, but very, very effective. Now, when it comes to altcoins, okay, I have two strategies. Whenever I do my macro accumulations on Bitcoin, I am going to also accumulate some altcoins at the same time. And the reason being is because if at some given point, let's say Bitcoin's price is falling, 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 and then it hits a macro support level and it bounces and it rips, say 10%, that show of strength from Bitcoin might trigger some of those alts to send it 15, 20, 25% in relief rallies, right? And so knowing that Bitcoin may be kind of like the anchor here, I of course want to capitalize on some, probably riskier plays, but possibly some higher rewards by capitalizing on something like Solana or Sweet or ETH or many more, right? And so the way that I'm going about it is saying, okay, Bitcoin has hit a macro support zone. I'm going to put most of my money into Bitcoin, but let's take an extra 20 or 30 or 40% and throw some of that at some of my alts that are also at those macro support levels. Now, in addition to that, my next plan, as you can see here, was to purchase the alts that had the biggest pumps and the hardest falls. So what I mean by that is throughout the run that we saw from last year, there were some altcoins that absolutely sent it, right? I want you to think about some of these, for example. Let's go and let's kind of just jump in, right? So I want you to think about SWI as a prime great example. I want you to maybe even consider something like XLM. I want you to even maybe consider something like HBAR. And let's say something like Ondo as well. Ondo is another good example, right? These are the ones that had signs of life. These are the ones that showed us, hey, if we do go into a bull market, these are the ones people are interested in. These are the ones that have the narrative, they have the backing, they have the community, they have the liquidity. These are the ones that could rally. And the thing is, the ones that ran like that throughout last year are typically going to have the biggest pullbacks because there are more people who bought that are going to be willing to sell. And so my strategy here is to take those specific cryptos and add even a little bit more to them. Because the likelihood is that if we do see this bull market return at some given point, well, hey, we're going to be in a spot in which those alts are probably going to run 20, 30, 40% out of nowhere. And obviously I want to capitalize on it. And so in that moment in which Bitcoin hits a macro support level, boom, I'm looking at my SWI, I'm looking at my Ondo, and I'm snagging these things up. I'm picking them up. I'm buying them because, hey, I think there's an opportunity there. Now, I don't want to kind of say this in the sense that I'm just saying it. I think there's something to showing you what I mean, right? And so if we even head over to the Discord server, you can see exactly what I mean. We head to the Discord server, we go to my channel, you can look here, right? Today I bought a little Bitcoin, but I also bought some ETH and some Sol and some SWI, some Ondo, XLM, some ADA, HBAR, Pepe, XRP, and CAS. I bought all of these today, guys. I bought some of them yesterday as well. So look, I'm not just talking the talk. I'm walking through this. Even in a moment where everyone is scared and freaking out, I am actively doing this as we speak. And this is the strategy that I believe will work for me, especially as, being that it's something I've done this exact strategy for probably 4 years now or so, roughly. Now, going a little bit forward, past Bitcoin, past major altcoins, I am reallocating my micro and risky play percentages. Now, what I mean by that is, you guys know I love pre-sales, I love meme coins, I love the BS, kind of the buffoonery that we do here in the crypto market. But quite frankly, now's just not the time, right? Now's just not the time. Now's not the time to be putting 5% of your bag at a meme coin or pre-sale. It's not the time. They will be here. Listen, let me explain this. Microcaps and risky plays will be here forever. Quite frankly, they will be. It's a part of the crypto market, right? That means, though, that you can wait, quite frankly. Because right now, the likelihood of you losing in a microcap or a pre-sale or risk replay goes up substantially because stuff is probably, if Bitcoin keeps falling, stuff in the market is just going to start breaking. Kind of like what happened with FTX, not to that degree maybe, but stuff will just start breaking out of nowhere. And that's going to open up the door for retail investors to leave, a lack of retail liquidity, a lack of just community-based liquidity, and that's going to put a lot of microcaps under a lot of strain, right? And so now is just not the time. And so my strategy with this is like, listen, those pre-sales and those microcaps will be here when the market's in a better place. Now ain't the time to be I don't know what that was, but now is not the time to start kind of just throwing money at the fire like that whenever I could be buying Bitcoin at a discount or SWI at a discount. And so I'm not going to completely stop because I'll never stop. I'm a degenerate at the end of the day, but I am going to be buying in much smaller portions. If I only allocated, 10% of my total portfolio to microcaps and pre-sales, I'm probably dropping that down to like 4-5% at most because it's just, again, not the time. And then the last thing that I do want to say, now that you understand what I'm doing with Bitcoin, alt, and microcaps, is listen, guys, I'm locking in. I'm locking in right now. I know that's corny and I know it's cringy, but at the end of the day, now is the time to lock in. And I've told you this on several occasions, right? In periods where everyone is scared and they're running and they're freaking out and they're leaving the crypto market, if you use that as an opportunity to spring yourself forward, you're going to get ahead of people, right? Because in a period in which, say you're in a race, right, and everybody's running in the same direction, but then a snake falls on the track. Boom. Some people are going to stop. Some people are going to run away. But if you're that person who says, screw it, I don't care, and you run and you jump over that snake and you continue to progress even though that traumatic thing is happening, you'll be in a spot that when everybody else comes back because the snake is gone, you're going to be so far ahead of them, it's going to be an easy win for you, right? And does that mean that you need to just be buying with every single dollar you have? No, of course not. Not right now. I mean, things are kind of risky right now. I don't blame you. But it does mean keep learning. Keep figuring new things out. Keep working on your skills. Refine your technical analysis. Refine your fundamental analysis. Make your strategy even better. Go assess what happened throughout 2024 and figure out some things that you can add to your strategy to make it better. Go take some courses, take some classes, join some extra live streams. Do all of these things to progress yourself either mentally or physically so that when everybody does get back in the race, because they're going to get back in the race, you're so far ahead of them that it's easy work for you, right? This is the reason why people and I want to say this without being like cocky, like an asshole, but like there's a reason why people like myself or those of you who've been here since 2021 we're so far ahead in the 2024 market because we stuck through 2022 and 2023. We were fine throughout it. We were good throughout it. We learned so much that when 2024 came around, we knew when to take profits. We knew when to buy. We knew all of these things much more than we did in our first few cycles. And so with that in mind, now is the time to lock in. It's not the time to run away from the market. It's time to lean in to the market. Okay. And so with that in mind, guys, that's my plan. That's my strategy. Very, very simple for you. I'm prioritizing Bitcoin. I'm accumulating it at macro support levels. When I buy Bitcoin at major support, I'll buy some alts, especially the alts that had the biggest pumps and the hardest falls last year. I am taking a tiny percentage of my money and putting it into risky plays, but I'm not doing much because it is very risky. And more than anything, I'm just locking in right now. I'm simply just locking in because I think now is the time where we can really lean into this market and start getting ahead of people. Okay. So with that in mind, if you do want some extra content from me, guys, don't forget, you can go follow me on Twitter at TylerHillYT, where we do talk about all of these things and I give you extra analysis every single day. If you are trading right now, you can, of course, sign up with my link down to BTCC, and you can get a 10% bonus on all first-time deposits between $500 and $100,000. And lastly, if you are a new crypto investor, what I want you to do is I want you to head down to the link down below, enter in your email address, and I'm going to send you this Crypto for Beginners guide, which goes over how you can get started in crypto, store your crypto, begin investing, and all that good stuff. So all of those things are available down there for you. If you do want to see all my trades, the link to the school is down there for you as well. So check all these things out. But more than anything, just focus. Just focus. If you're going to lock in right now, go find new YouTubers to watch. Go learn how to do Elliot's waves, or go learn how to read your Elliot's waves. Go learn how to read Fibonacci's, right? Do all of these things that'll progress you in the future. You'll thank yourself for doing it. So, of course, I hope you guys did enjoy today's video. If you did, don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe to the channel if you are new. And I can't wait to see you all in the next one. Peace out, everybody.